Today marks an anniversary and not necessarily a happy one for many Canadians. A year ago today, Finance Minister Jim Flaherty made what has become one of the most unpopular and controversial decisions by the Harper government. Reversing a Conservative campaign promise, Flaherty announced the government would end the tax-free status of income trusts. Martin Stringer joins us from the foyer of the House of Commons with more on this story tonight. And Martin, this is still causing a lot of anger in a number of Canadians even a year later.
Well, that's right, Peter. And to mark the one-year anniversary of the income trust decision, there was a rally here on Parliament Hill, and we'll get to that in a minute, but also in question period. The income trust issue was raised by the opposition Liberals. Now, 1 year ago, when that decision was made, it was estimated that 2.5 million Canadians were affected by the decision. Many people lost a sizable portion, some all of their life savings. In the days that followed Jim Flaherty's announcement that he would tax income trusts come 2011, the actual value of income trusts on the market dropped by $25 billion. So today in question period, Liberal leader Stephen Harper raised the issue.
Mr. Speaker, in the last election, the Prime Minister promised he would never tax income trust. He didn't have to make this promise, but he did. A year ago, today, Halloween, the Prime Minister lifted his mask and shamefully broke his promise. Many Canadians lost their savings, paid a heavy price. Many of them are here today on Parliament Hill. Will the Prime Minister apologize for his $20 billion broken promise?
So, Mr. Speaker, I think we have to put this in context, Mr. Speaker. Income trusts have not paid any taxes. Income trusts have not paid any taxes. Mr. Speaker, they will not pay taxes for years. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, there are generous rules to allow those income trusts to grow tax-free. And, Mr. Speaker, when they are finally taxed, they will pay the same low corporate taxes as everyone.
That was an exchange from question period earlier today. Now, you heard Stephen Dion, the Liberal leader, referring to income trust investors who had come to Ottawa. Well, just before question period, a number of investors, a few dozen investors, gathered in front of the Peace Tower here on Parliament Hill. They came from all over Canada. Some of them said they had lost $10,000, $15,000, $65,000. One man said he lost $125,000 last year when the value of income trusts plummeted. So, after the rally, I met with the President and CEO of the Canadian Association of Income Trust Investors, Brent Fullard. Brent Fullard, we're 1 year later, 1 year after the decision to remove the tax-free status of income trusts. Where is the fight at now? A lot of people will say that it's never going to be reversed. This Conservative government is sticking to its guns.
Right. Well, I think where it's at right now is pretty much where it began, which is we have no proof whatsoever of the central tenets on which this policy was based. The government professed that income trusts cause tax leakage. Well, they're so confident in that position, why do we get 18 pages of blacked out documents? Why does the government subsequently ask for these to be released, to be returned? I mean, these people have provided nothing in the way of substance to prove what is a quantifiable construct. I mean, this is like the statement in your bank statement. I mean, this is not like a debate about same-sex marriage. It's a quantifiable truth, and we've got no proof whatsoever.
Let's talk about where things are in terms of the people who lost money in income trusts. It has been estimated there were 2.5 million Canadians who are affected by this decision. $25 billion is one estimate of how much was lost. But some people say that the value of income trusts has climbed back up again now. It's only about 9%, the net value of income trusts around the country, 9% less than it was in a year ago. Have people recovered any money?
Well, there has been a recovery in the devaluation of income trusts, but meanwhile, the broader market has gone up by some 10-15%. So given the policy objective of this income trust tax is to force people out of income trusts and into common shares and the like, I've lost purchasing power. So if you do the analysis on a rigorous basis, which we've done on our website, which is CAITI, CAITI.info, there's a thing on the homepage called Calculation of $35 billion loss. This was, and what one would expect, remain as a $35 billion permanent loss of value.
Are people still as angry as they were, though? Because a lot of people took the loss. A lot of people listened to their financial consultants who said, no, hang on to it because the income trust will gain in value again. Just hang in there. Don't sell off.
Right. Well, the thing is, there's a loss of capital, but then there's a loss of the investment. I mean, people bought income trusts over other alternative investments like common shares, which are now being driven back into, and now they've got 80 cents on the dollar to buy what they didn't want to buy with a dollar. And why don't they want to buy common shares? It's because they need income. These people need income to pay their rent, to pay their food. I mean, that's what they're losing. We can forget about, let's dismiss the $35 billion as if it were irrelevant. These people are losing significant income. Alternate investments only yield about half of income trusts, and we are in a very low interest rate environment. So getting monthly income is a major challenge.
So politically, back to the first question, politically, where do we go 1 year later? Yesterday, Finance Minister Jim Flaherty announced a mini budget with tons and tons of tax cuts. The theory is that this is going to draw attention away from the 1 year anniversary of the income trust decision.
Right. Well, all it does, if you actually evaluate it, is it actually makes our problem more egregious. Because what has he done as one of his major provisions? I don't know how much of the $60 billion is personal and how much is corporate, but I do know this. He's reducing corporate taxation by 32%, from 22% down to 15%. Now, if the policy objective of the income trust tax, which they stated it was to provide a level playing field, well, why aren't we now revisiting the new 31.5% trust tax, which is double what the corporate tax will be 6 years out or 4 years out when it's effective? So he's just made the hypocritical even more hypocritical.
Politically, your allies are obviously the Liberals. There are a number of Liberal MPs out here. But where is this going politically in terms of, I don't know?
The Green Party, I spent a lot of time with the Green Party, with Elizabeth May, and that's the woman who I have great respect for, having now learned how she bases her policy decisions on fact. The Green Party is supportive of rescinding this tax. The Liberal Party are, and I think in an election, if not sooner, people are going to realize that the net effect of this whole thing is negative to all Canadians. I mean, the takeout of BCE by foreign private equity and a pension fund, and then the 47 trust takeouts to date, that's a $2 billion annual loss of income, whilst meanwhile displacing Canadian investors who need retirement income in favor of foreigners. So that's going to soon grow to $7.5 billion once the whole market gets obliterated.
So what you're saying is once they weaken the income trust fund sector, that this is making them prone to foreign buyouts, foreign takeovers.
Right, and we were predicting that from the very first week. I had an ad I was ready to print called Happy Halloween, as in Halloween out the economy. And we've observed that happen. There's been 47. Abu Dhabi Energy bought Prime West for $5 billion. What are we doing having Middle Eastern oil companies displacing Canadian investors who need retirement income in the ownership of energy assets?
The Finance Minister, Jim Flaherty, was asked even yesterday during his mini budget, though, about this income trust decision, knowing that the anniversary is today. And he says, no, he sticks by his decision. He's not going to change it. The Conservative government's not going to change it. So your alternatives, your options are lobby for what?
Well, we haven't really been lobbying. We're an investor advocacy group, and we want process. We want to start with what is the known problem before we prescribe solutions. And rather than professing problems and not proving them, that's a complete utter waste of time. No scientist, no doctor, no one would ever approach something on that basis and be viewed as credible. So, I mean, if Mr. Flaherty wants to take his government down on this issue, that's a very real consequence of what he's doing. And oh, by the way, Jack Layton, the NDP, they're a big part of this too. Well, it wouldn't have happened without them. And these are people who profess to be concerned about retirement's dignity of seniors and security of their pensions and worried about foreign takeovers. Well, guess what? They're a party to those two very outcomes.
So between now and 2011, when the new tax comes into effect, your hope is either a reversal by the government or a change off government?
Yes, one or the other. I mean, that's what they've left it up to us to as our alternate outcomes.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, great. Thank you.